special meeting of the Henry County School Board come to order at this time. So, roll please.
Mr. Offer?
Here.
Ms. Flanagan?
Here.
Dr. DeVos?
Here.
Ms. Minutes?
Here.
Mr. Milner?
Here.
Dr. Stanbaugh? And Mr. Zaid?
Here.
Thank you.
This time we're entertaining a motion to approve this evening's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Those in favor signify by raising your right hand. The agenda's been approved. We move to the first order of business, approval of the FY 2015 Henry County School budget. Dr. Cotton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any updates for you other than what I presented previously. What I'd like to do is I'll just recap those budget areas that we've included in the budget as I get to that quickly. Overall, as a reminder, we're looking at an increase for health insurance premiums of 8%. The VRS rates that we talked about increasing from 11.66% to 14.5%. A reminder of the group life percentage increase that I shared with you that's included in this budget proposal, as well as budgeting for the hybrid VRS plan that's implemented for new employees that were hired after January 1st of this year. Also, as a recap, you know that we looked at increasing the work year for some curriculum staff because we've been working diligently on our curriculum. We've also built in a restoration of stipends for academic and athletic coaches, back to that 2011 factor that we talked about. Increased funding to cover the fees for the school resource officers to handle that increase that they received last year, as well as their 1% VRS contribution. We've also included the restored position for budget and finance that we desperately need with all of these changes that we're facing in that arena. We've increased, or recommended an increase in the number of health office assistants to serve elementary schools. We talked about the need there. Operation and maintenance, you see those listed here for a restored position there for general maintenance, as well as summer intern opportunities to help with painting. As we've talked about, we have one painter in the school division, and we really have a lot of needs that need to be addressed. The actual numbers that go with these are listed on this slide just as a recap. As I've shared with you before, in red, you have the budget shortfall due to the VRS and health insurance adjustments. That's a have to. We have to pay that, as well as that $10,000 for the school resource officers that I mentioned, and that group life percentage increase that we noticed that increase when we reviewing the updates there, and that's roughly $26,300. All of those are have-tos. If we don't get any money above level funding, as I've said before, we have to find that amount, which is roughly 187 in that range, 187,000. So in my mind, I was thinking roughly 200,000, but to be more exact, around 187,000. The remaining items are listed there as additional that we want to put in our budget. We did a needs-based budget. You see the cost for the resource office assistants, close to 80,000. The contract adjustments, close to 40,000 there. General maintenance, 52,000. Budget finance position, 55,700. You also see the stipends there that turns out to be 60,740. And then the small amount there for the summer interns, all coming to a grand total of 476,847 above and beyond level funding. So that's where we are at this point in time. That's what's included in the budget. I won't recap all of our budget adjustments. We've gone over that before. But this particular slide, let's go to the revenue slide here. where we are and what we're looking for, requesting from the county. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Questions for Dr. Cotton?
Well, I think this is a frugal budget. I've been through 2 school budgets since I've been on the board, and we received level funded both years from the Board of Supervisors. It's my understanding that 3 years ago we took a $500,000 cut. That we need some help from the Board of Supervisors, and I'm hopeful they're going to help us. We're asking for a modest increase. Their reserve fund is way over $20 million, which I'm very happy to have them have a big reserve fund. I'm hopeful, but if I told you I wasn't concerned about whether they're going to fund it all or not, I'd be less than truthful with you. So I've been talking to the supervisors, and other jurisdictions are asking for a lot more than that, and hopefully they can help us out. One of the things I'm very pleased about is I've spoken for over the years is to restore those stipends of the pay cut. That's one of my main priorities in the budget. Hopefully that'll be in the final budget.
Other comments? What Mr. Taylor has said, I still feel like that level funding as it's been provided is not really level funding, because if county revenues go up, the percentage of those revenues getting has not gone up commensurate with county revenue. So I would hope that the local government body would see fit to provide some assistance for us. We have one question. I noticed in the last day or so in the paper that Governor McCall's budget, which has not been finalized, does call for some additional funding for raises, which I read it correctly did include teachers.
We did see that, and we don't have all the details on it, but it did say it said teachers and support positions, but again, you're back to the SOQ funded positions as a part of standards of quality, and that of course we'll have to look at that, because that doesn't include everybody. I mean, only SOQ funded positions are included, and we provide positions above and beyond that. So we would have to make a decision at that point, because you remember this budget is based on what we know now. If the governor's proposals and amendments or whatever passed, then certainly we'll have to take that into account and look to see about changes that need to be made. Anything you want to add to that?
Then if the governor's request to add money for Medicaid budget, General Assembly decides to separate those two issues, pass a budget, come back later, consider that request about Medicaid, then we might be held up even longer, knowing exactly what we have available.
We could be, but some school boards and localities have been pushing them to separate the Medicaid from the budget discussion, because that's really slowing it down, and we're getting to a point where we need to know what the numbers are so that we can plan to move forward. So some school boards, actually in our region, have been looking at passing resolutions to ask that Medicaid be pulled out of the discussions. I know of at least one in our area that has gone that route, but it is definitely slowing up the process, as you know.
Would you recommend that we pass a resolution tonight to that effect? Or All you gotta do is give the word.
Not having one for you to approve at this point in time, but we can certainly have that conversation if the board has an interest in.
At our next regular meeting, Mr. Chairman, be appropriate.
Do you think we'll have any more information, knowledge at all by that time? Next board meeting?
Is our meeting, what, 2 weeks from now?
It's the second week.
Not next week, the week after. I'm not sure if we'll have additional information at that time, but we can certainly have that conversation if you all.
You could put a sample one on the agenda. If we're not any further along by that time, we need to pass a resolution asking to pass the budget. That's our constitutional duty to pass the budget. Mr. Walker is a government teacher, so his dad's not involved.
Well, I'd like to know, maybe, could you give us some information too, maybe about anything on whatever school divisions may have done that?
The only one that comes to mind is Botetourt County. I know that they were looking at that. I don't know if they actually passed it or not. I know that they were considering.
I think their locality has maybe taken a hit financially, the state support is coming in.
And what's happening is sometimes the county governments are really pushing this as well because, we're all being held hostage right now.
I guess I need to think about whether it's a school board we want to get into political.
Yeah, and that's why some boards have not wanted to pursue that, because obviously it's a partisan, issue that some boards have not wanted to do.
We might even think about that. I would like to see that come from the government board, government board, school board.
And that's exactly why some boards have decided not to take that on, but I know Botetourt was looking at it. I don't know if they officially did. Have you talked with any of your counterparts about resolution? We talked about that at our regional superintendent meeting recently, so.
Could you maybe just make us aware if any others do?
Sure, I'll be glad to do that.
Any other discussion or questions regarding this FY 2015 budget as presented? If not, then we entertain a motion at this time to approve this budget as it's been presented. Everyone, I think, has had a period of time to review it, have enough discussion. I think we all know what it includes, excludes.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we accept this budget as it is, with a commendation to Dr. Cotton and his staff for working diligently on this budget.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'd like to call for a vote. Those in favor of presenting this budget to our government board as agreed by this board, signify by raising your hand. So moved. And Mr. Walker, I appreciate you adding that caveat there. Talking to his staff, you've done a great job. It reflects the entire board's feeling on this. Are there other matters to come before the board at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The other day we had a snowy day, what was it, Tuesday? And I think the public needs to be aware of this, that it's my understanding, Dr. Cotton, and if I'm wrong, please correct me, that on these type days that you personally and your transportation staff are constantly monitoring the highways of Henry County. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I'm thankful and I appreciate you people doing that. And it's also my understanding that if you see a few problem areas someplace, that you contact VDOT, and VDOT has been very cooperative in helping us look at these problem spots. Is that correct?
That's right.
Well, I was very appreciative of VDOT. Sometimes I'm quick to criticize VDOT, and we need to be more compassionate sometimes. Mr. Chairman, I think it'd be appropriate if we asked Dr. Cotton to write a letter to Lisa Price Hughes, who's the head engineer at the Bassett's headquarters, thanking her for cooperating with us and doing everything they can to ensure the safety of our children. and send a copy to her bosses in Salem and Richmond. Now, if we need a motion, then Dr. Duval, I'd be more happy to make it, or whatever you think, Mr. Chairman.
Make that in form of a motion.
So moved that our superintendent thanked them. I was really impressed with VDOT, what they've done. And they've done this other times this winter before school started late and doing certain roads that we brought to their attention. I made that a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the Mr. Zayer's motion. Those in favor, or any other discussion?
I was just thinking along that line, going to Whitfield yesterday morning, passing through Franklin and Carroll County, and noticing cars, and some of them with flashing lights, and how they were going up these side roads, checking these side roads. And I think everybody is doing that, really checking. And for those that lives in the flatland, like most on the east end of the county, you might look out and say, I don't know why they're canceling school. But people need to realize that these hill countries have a whole different view. And I made the decision to go to Whitfield, and I thought the roads were clear, and got up above Lover's Leap, and the snow was being blown back out on the road. The road was clear, but the snow was being blown back out on the road. Just fortunate I got behind a snow plow.
Yeah, and I would second it. I mean, VDOT has been so helpful to us, and the parents will contact us about the snow-covered roads, and what we do now is we take their address, and we send VDOT out there to check, and they've been so helpful, and I know we got a lot of feedback on that snowy day. This week, was it Tuesday or Monday? It might be Monday, but the snow started before Tuesday, before the once the buses had started out, but we were checking the roads all day long, and they were clear. But when the community sees snow, they just assume that we close, but it's really all about the roads. And we wanted to get the students to school safely, and then see what happened. And all of our reports told us it was going to stop, and it stopped for a while, and it all dried up, and then it started again. So, and then once we got them home, the sun popped out and everything dried up. So, you know, we do the best we can, but we didn't want our students out in that weather. So, it ended up being a good day, but VDOT was on it. When I drove the roads, they were out there in full force, taking care of all of our troubles. The biggest problems were in the Blackberry area up in Sandville and Trent Hill, thank you. So we drove up there, and they weren't even bad, but they were on the roads because VDOT was there working on it. So.
I think, like these two, I think police officers graduated through Mason High School.
Okay. So, well,
She definitely was.
While you were the principal.
Either a principal or a teacher, I'm not sure.
You was, no, she's one of my former students. You were the principal. Yeah, she's first class young lady.
She is.
She's first class.
She may have been there. Well, we have a motion on the table regarding making accommodation to VDOT for their assistance to our transportation department. Those in favor of this motion signify by raising their hand. Motion carries. Any other matters from the board? If not, then at this time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.